Mr. Chairman, I seek recognition.
What purpose does the gentleman seek recognition?
To strike the last word.
Gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My colleagues in the majority ought to support this amendment if for no other reason that it is a non-supplanting amendment. It does not allow local communities to supplant funds from the federal government that they might otherwise apply to the objectives that I would suggest even the majority purports to try to achieve in the legislation. But I think the game that we're watching is a different one than that is being played. Americans are familiar with the filibuster rule and the fact that to do just about anything in the United States Senate, you need 60 votes. But we have this special tool called budget reconciliation, which allows the passage of legislation in the Senate in the absence of that 60 vote threshold, because we want to create special incentives to decrease spending, to lower the deficit, and to not pass along such a harsh economic burden to the next generation. And so we have this lower 50 vote threshold. And as Mr. McClintock so eloquently stated earlier today, this does the exact opposite of that objective. We're not being tasked with saving money, we're being tasked with spending money. And then when we look at what we're tasked to spend money to do, it essentially seems to be to either federalize law enforcement or to facilitate a massive amount of illegal immigration through amnesty. Now, I guess reasonable people can disagree about federalizing law enforcement. I tend to think that the type of training and the type of resourcing that we would want to see in communities could best be defined by those communities. But it doesn't seem that reasonable people right now should be able to disagree on the question of amnesty for anywhere between 8 and 10 million people who break our laws to come to the country and do so without welcome or permission. And the notion that that somehow increases our economic prospect, I think really misses the depression on wages that it creates and the lost opportunity for Americans through a variety of fronts. And then obviously when these people come to our country, there's no prohibition for them signing up for social services that then put an incredible strain on the safety net that we want to make sure is available for Americans in need. It's unfortunate that a procedural trick through budget reconciliation would be used for this vast amnesty. It is unfortunate that my Democrat colleagues want to federalize policing rather than allowing our states and communities to be able to define solutions that best work for them. And it's certainly most unfortunate that it appears that this very good amendment by my colleague from North Carolina is going to be rejected, even though it would seem to ensure that the federal government is not taken for a ride by states and local communities that would supplant a normal funding for training with the resources provided by the bill. I thank the chairman for his indulgence, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Ms. Jackson Lee is recognized.